Recognize Mr. Moran of Texas for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of you for being here today. This is an important subject. The Temporary Assistance for Needy Families Program, which we refer to as TANF, is one that I know in East Texas, where I come from, is used to help those temporarily in need, those families and those individuals, when they have those times of need, whether it's through cash assistance or other programs. Services like utility bills, rental assistance, childcare, a lot of things that come the way that are used for appropriate times of need temporarily. And we forget sometimes that in 1996, when we created this, the Republicans created this, that it was intended to move folks from a federal welfare funding with open-ended entitlement programming to a capped block grant to the states. And it hasn't changed the level of funding since 1996. I think that's really important. And so we're trying to have accountability and transparency in that process. But of course, these 5 GAO reports show that there's a lot of work that we have to do, a whole lot of work. Those reports had findings like we've got to have more, they identified 21 fraud risks in 9 different categories, including billing fraud, misuse of award funds, and diversion. There's a lack of data on demographic characteristics that we've already talked about today, lack of data on participation and outcomes, 99 audit findings. This was amazing to me. That we have seen were repeated findings that were never addressed. So there's a lot of work to do. I want to go back to a couple of those and ask you all some questions about that. Mr. Bagdoyan, what are some of the biggest fraud risks that you have seen or that you're aware of in the TANF program?
Well, the EBT risk, Mr. Moran, is paramount. It is an easy vehicle for fraudsters to target. There have also been instances of falsified invoices for inflated costs or services not rendered. Also, the commingling of TANF funds with other sources of funding for assistance, basically disguising the original TANF funding and then spending it for non-TANF purposes. So those are some of the prominent ones that we have focused on. And as you mentioned, all these risks do need a really focused assistance over the long term to address.
Ms. Summerlot, I'm going to ask you, you just heard that answer from Mr. Bagdoyan. You put some of these things into practice day after day. Does it bother you to hear that some of these funds are being misused in a way or captured in a way that is not intended for the purpose and for those needy families that actually need it? Does that bother you?
Well, any level of abuse, fraud, waste, misinterpretation is of concern. Certainly, program integrity and compliance is paramount for those of us that work in the program every year. Actually, the point about invoices coming through for inflated costs or the point about just vendors or providers for other TANF purposes.
Those are problems in the program, and so Ms. Laren, I want to come to you and ask you how are states evaluating and taking care of some of those problems? In particular, let me ask you specifically about the TANF-funded non-assistance services such as job training or early childhood education. How are they currently evaluating and the improvement and the outcomes for families in poverty?
Well, some states are doing it better than others. So Texas actually is a good example because they collect the same data on their TANF recipients as they do from their WIOA recipients on their job training. It's a whole range of outcomes that they are tracking to determine whether that money is actually achieving TANF goals.
And other than sheer will, is there some reason why the other states just don't want to do that or haven't done that?
Well, some of them are not aware of these promising practices that, and which is why we recommended that HHS encourage states to share information about how they're using data. Yeah.
With my last question, I'm going to come to you, Mr. Arkin. In the GAO report, enhanced reporting could improve HHS oversight of state spending. GAO found that Texas appropriates TANF funds to provide workforce training to individuals. and that the state plans to spend down their unspent balance in this manner. Could you provide additional insights as to how states have used TANF non-assistant funds to help Americans gain employment and meet local employment needs, lifting people out of poverty and away from the point where they need this help?
Sure. Thanks for the question. I mean, that's one of the non-assistance examples of spending is employment training, support for training and education to help people find employment, to help people become more employable, to provide childcare for people who need to seek and hold employment. And so that's one of the main uses of non-assistance spending.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.